One of our very, very favorite things to do on the Carolina Insider is talk to some of the most newly minted Tar Heel NCAA champions. That's what we're doing today. You know, Carolina women's tennis won the program's first NCAA championship this weekend, and we're joined by Sophia Patel, live from Orlando, Jess.
Yeah, she's still there. She's still in the arena.
And was in the arena this weekend as Carolina took down NC State to win the title. Sophia, thanks so much for being with us, and congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
What was Saturday night in Orlando like, a hotly contested match as the Tar Heels take down the Wolfpack?
It was amazing. It was some of the best tennis that I've gotten to watch our girls play, and it was super competitive. And I can debate that NC State probably played better than when we had lost to them. So I think that can give you a good idea of the level. But everyone played super down to like every line, super good. We stayed close to our identity. I think it was an amazing match, and it was fun to watch.
Sophia, Carolina has been good for a long time in women's tennis and multiple-time indoor national championship. The outdoor title had eluded this team for several years. What allowed this group to be the one to get over the hump a little bit and make this happen?
I think like it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but I do think that this year felt different. Like, I've talked to a bunch of the girls. I've been on this team for 5 years. I've had a lot of the same girls on this team this year that I had in the last 4 years. So I think a lot of it is like intangibles, things that like, you know, people don't really pick up on unless you're in it and you're like doing it. But I do think that a lot of the reason that we won on Saturday and just throughout this week and this year is because we have a lot of soft skills and intangibles that a lot of teams I think don't take very seriously. So things like, you know, having fun at practice, having meals together, doing things off the court, you know, really getting to know each other on a personal level, even though tennis is such an individual sport. I think we made it a team sport, and that's why we were successful at the end.
Why is Brian Calbus so good at facilitating those types of things? Obviously, he's good technically at teaching tennis. What makes him equally good at teaching everything else that you just talked about?
I think when I know that he always tells us culture is important. He always is saying, I'm recruiting the person over the player. And I think that's something that we took for granted and we take for granted sometimes. But into this year, it's something that I like as a leader on this team and like try to show people is like, we go to these tournaments and we go to these matches, and coach has allowed us to like find our best friends on this team. Has brought in girls that we actually like to be around and, you know, we enjoy. And that's something super unique not every team can say. And I think that's what's really allowed us to level up and like do what we did this week and this year. And I think it all starts with coach's recruiting and how much he cares about us. And at the end of the day, like, he does want us to have fun. He wants to, you know, go to the weddings like 10 years down the road. He doesn't really care about what's going on like this weekend, as long as we're enjoying ourselves.
Sophia, I'm interested in your role for this team, because every single person that we have talked to all year long mentions you and your leadership on this team, and yet you're not necessarily in the lineup every single match for the Tar Heels. How have you been able to grab that leadership role and get the respect from your teammates, even though you aren't necessarily out there every single time that the Tar Heels are?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do have to say that every time we do step out as a team, I feel like I'm going out there regardless of what my role is. But I do know that I think being a fifth year on this team, like, captain wasn't really like on the agenda for me. It wasn't something that we normally discuss as a team. It's not really something that we do. We kind of take on leadership roles as they come, and if coach sees something that works, he'll be like, okay, that's good, that everyone can do that. But I think this role has really fallen on my shoulders, and I'm really thankful it did, because without like the pressure of competing on the weekends, I do have the time to make sure that I'm facilitating like strong relationships and, you know, making sure that the little things get done so that like the big things can happen. And I think at the end of the day, the 6 girls that are on the court have to take care of what they have to take care of. But I do think that keeping this team together is something that I hold really strongly to my heart, and that's what I hope that like going down the road that people see the importance in, you know, seeing someone for who they really are and not necessarily the way they played that day.
Okay, on senior day, if I'm not mistaken, Fiona Crawley said she wanted to sing the national anthem for you as like your senior gift from her. Did you know she was going to do that? And how impressed were you that she was willing a cappella, which it didn't look like she was expecting it to be a cappella. How impressed were you that she was able to stand up there and do that?
It was so fun. So what actually happened, I can tell you the story a little bit. So it was like probably 3 or 4 weeks before senior day happened, and Fiona has this amazing habit of singing everywhere she is, just like in the car, in the shower, just at practice, in the locker room. So I was like, B, like, you're gonna sing this much, why don't you just sing like the national anthem? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, on senior day, like, and because we always are like, B, shut up, like, stop, like, and then I was like, okay, fine, if you want to sing, then you have to sing on my senior day. And then the national anthem kind of came about, and she was like, I don't even know if I know all the words. I was like, pull up the lyrics, like, it's fine, like, and normally we have an instrumental situation, and I don't know what happened that day, but it went dead silent, and it was the most, I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God. And like Fiona looks at me and she's like, and I was like, they already like unplugged the speaker. Like if we had to connect it to Bluetooth, like that, it would have taken hours. I was like, okay, like now we have no choice. So she started, and I mean, like that takes heart, like that takes guts. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is she gonna do? Coach was like, go now. And she just like got on the line, she started, and then I was like kind of making her come over to the team, and she like kind of made it a concert, but it wasn't in a disrespectful way. But I do think it was one of the most like enjoyable moments and like scariest for her. But then it was like, holy cow, doubles and singles felt so easy after that.
All right, you were the first, I think I have this, you were the first one to like grab the trophy in the celebration. Like you were the first one to go get it. What was that moment like? You've got it in your hands. You guys are all celebrating on the court.
You mean on Saturday?
Yes, yeah.
That was insane. I also didn't want to be the one to grab it. I wanted Carson to grab it because she clinched and like Scotty was up there. But they were like, go, go, go. And I can't even tell you like how amazing that felt. And like, I know that when the match ended, my eyes went straight to Coach. And I was like, what does this guy look like right now? Like, there's just no way that this is real. And it was funny because we talked about it, like not even the trophy, but like seeing Carson clinch, like Scotty's crying already. Like she already like clinched the match, she was crying. And I looked at Ty and I looked at Coach, and they had the most opposite reactions of what I thought they were gonna react. So like Ty's arms were up in the air, and Coach's like face drops. And like if you know them at all personally, like that is opposite of like who they are. And it was like honestly surreal, and I don't think it really clicked for me until Sunday morning when it actually happened.
You've been part of championship Carolina teams before, because we know the Tar Heels win ITA indoors every year. It's required by law. But as you've had a chance to think about this NCAA championship over the last 36 to 48 hours or so, what's felt different about this one, about winning outdoors and winning an NCAA title?
This is a different beast for sure. I mean, like, we've been categorized as an indoor team, and Coach is always like, we're not an indoor team, we're not an outdoor team, we're a competitive one. And I think it's just like, this is a different atmosphere. It's a different level of tennis. I think people have had a whole semester of tennis under them. People are confident. It's hot here, and like I think this is the tournament to win. I know we hype up indoors and stuff, but I do think that it's an amazing opportunity just to, first of all, be in Orlando at the final site, and that's not something that we take for granted at all, because we know how hard it is to get here. And then I think I just remember talking to the girls like in our little meetings and team huddles and stuff, and like we walk into indoors like that's our tournament. Why don't we walk into NCAAs that way? And that's kind of what our attitude's been. And we were just like, okay, like there's nothing wrong in being confident. I mean, I think there's a fine line between cocky and confident, but like, I mean, people put us on a pedestal. We should act like that way, and that's where we walk into indoors that way. And I think that's why that's why we play a certain way, and that's why we show up. But I think that was the one thing that changed this year, is we walked into this tournament like, this is ours. Someone needs to take it from us.
Newest national champion on campus. That's full of national champions here in Chapel Hill, Sophia Patel and Carolina's women's tennis team. Sophia, thanks so much for carving out a little bit of time for us today. I know you're super busy. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great time the rest of your time in Orlando, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much. Go Heels.